Everyone or anyone who happens to be there. Hope you're doing well. Things have cooled down a little bit here, which is nice. It's been quite hot the last few weeks, really. Actually, today was quite overcast, so it made a pleasant change, and we had our first sports day today, which was good. We have the second part tomorrow. Consisted of the kids. The class is divided into two teams, and then they play off against each other, and they're playing in floorball, which I guess is kind of like indoor hockey, and softball as well, which was great fun actually. And a few of the kids really, display quite a talent, which was nice because they don't really play it that regularly. So yeah, it was good fun. I've just finished, Lonesome Dove. Literally, probably a couple of hours ago, I suppose, and it was good. It was very good. I won't say too much about it because I'll probably make a video about it. Um, because it was quite a big read. I guess because it's one of those books that people go on and on about how great it is. So I think it deserves a video of its own. So I'll probably post that sometime, maybe over the weekend, because from Friday's the last day of term here, so then I'll begin 2 months summer holiday, which will be nice. A nice bit of break, and give me the opportunity to actually knuckle back down to making some booktube videos, on a more regular basis. So it gives me something to do with the time, as well as, I guess, checking up on the house. Of course, I don't know really the schedule of the house at the moment. They seem to have finished the foundation. I don't know how long it's going to be before they come through and start to build the walls and stuff like that. They haven't let me know yet. I did ask them a day or two ago, and they said they'll get back to me. So I guess I'll find out soon, because obviously I don't want to keep going back and forth to school. Find out they're not doing anything at all, which would be a bit of a wasted journey. So we have a few people here. Feel free to, make some comments. I'm using StreamYard today. I used YouTube's live thing the last couple of times. So yeah. Oh, hey, Alexis, good to see you. So it's a gorgeous day where you are. That's nice. Yeah, here it's been, I don't know what, about 17 degrees. So 17 degrees Celsius, which is maybe chilly for some, but it was pleasant after weeks and weeks of sunshine and temperatures over, 25 to 35, something, well, not 35, but 25 to like 32 or something like that. It's a welcome respite to have a bit of cloud and a bit of cool breeze. Definitely Elvis appreciates it, don't you? So yeah. So I don't know. Have any of you got any exciting plans for the summer? Any nice holidays planned, trips anywhere? Unfortunately, I was supposed to be meeting up with a booktuber this week, but it fell through, sadly. Because we got the wrong. They got the wrong time, or day rather, day and time. Actually, I suppose that they were due to arrive, and seeing as it's the last week of school, it didn't really fit in, sadly, which is a shame. It's a real shame because I would have enjoyed meeting up with someone from BookTube in real life. It would have been good fun, and it would have given me the excuse to head down to Prague, after like 3 years, and maybe visit some bookshops. Although I haven't. Well, I don't know. Has it been? Because Sean was out the other day for the first time in a bookshop, and I think he said he hadn't been in a bookshop since 2020. And I don't think I'm. I don't know. I don't think I'm that far off it myself. Actually, being in a physical bookshop. Obviously, I've been to loads of other shops, and I go out every day. But the nearest bookshop to me, at least one that sells English language books, is in the city of Hradec Králové, which is, if you know your history, it's Königgrätz. which is, I guess it's only about 35, 40 kilometers away. So it's not too far, but, I don't drive. So, um, yeah, I don't know. And the problem is their selection, excuse me, is really small. It's like 2 small bookcases, and I don't know if they change it up very much. So, hi Tom, how's it going there in Florida? Okay, yeah, pretty hot. So, yeah, well, probably a bit cooler in Cape Cod, hopefully. A bit cooler up in New England, isn't it? Cape Cod. Am I right? I tend to be right. I might be wrong though. Actually, I don't know. So yeah. We'll see. But is that a regular thing for you, Tom? Is it to head up to Cape Cod? You sound like some kind of president. Is it Cape Cod the presidents go to? No, it's Martha's Vineyard, isn't it? That's what it's called. Yeah. So. Excuse me. I mean, I think I'm allowed to drink tea when I've called the thing tea time. So normally it annoys me when people do that all the time, but this is just, as I say, a little informal chit chat with my booktube peeps. Oh, it's an expression I hate as well. But yeah, what we got there? Why don't you drive? Well, it's just one of those things, Alexis. I took lessons when I was 17, and then it kind of coincided with my A levels, and then I went off. Traveling around Europe. I did a month-long interrailing. And then, I came back. I had to get ready for university. I didn't need a car and to drive while I was at university. And then I moved off to Germany for a year. And while I was there, I got quite injured. You can probably see when it's hot, it comes out more. I went on a rugby tour to Croatia, and I ended up kind of cracking my skull a bit. I can still feel like where the shards had come off underneath, and it gave me eye problems, and I just didn't feel comfortable seeing properly. Seeing well enough to drive, and then obviously it got better, and I went off to Japan. I didn't drive by the time I went there, and obviously I wasn't going to learn there. And then life just got away from me. I'm thinking about perhaps embarking on learning to drive at the grand old age of over 40 something when I get round to it. But first things first. First comes the house. Then I guess an attempt on going for Czech citizenship, probably, and then learning to drive, because I would need to pass a language exam to get Czech citizenship. So I would need the language to pass the driving test. So I think it'd be easier to have the citizenship before going for the license. But that's best case scenario, perhaps within the next 5 years. But getting the house done, settled in and stuff is obviously the first priority, and then we'll take it from there. So yeah, it can be, actually. It can be. I mean, the team I played for in Germany was, it was kind of like top tier for Germany. I mean, it was the Bundesliga, but it was like pretty low level compared to England. But we played against a team in Croatia that had quite a few professionals in there, and people who had played, for, if not the full All Blacks team, at least like under 20s or something like that, or New Zealand B and things like that, who had then moved to Croatia because they had like Croatian ancestry, and it gave them the opportunity to play there and stuff. So yeah, it was probably a bit. They were probably a bit of a league, quite a few leagues higher than us. So it became much more physical, and yeah, but it was good. I mean, we played rugby at school. We didn't have a football team. We only played rugby in the autumn, and it was quite a good school. And a few England players have come out of that school, which is kind of cool, I guess. Although, of course, I wasn't one of them. But I always enjoyed it. I was never particularly good because I wasn't, maybe vicious enough. I didn't have really the killer instinct. I was probably far too easygoing, but I used to have fun with it. That's for sure. Yeah, it was a good game, good sport. That's something you don't see much, is it, on BookTube? We have now things like June on the Range or this BookTube at War coming up, I guess, next month. But you never see like people reading much in the way of sports books. I know Bill Rutenberg tends to read some books on baseball and stuff like that, but there can be some very good sport books. Maybe we need a month of sports fiction or biographies or that kind of thing. It could be good fun. I've read some really good books in my time, actually, based around sport. I think it was, I don't know, if it was when I started BookTube or just before. I read a book on the history of goalkeeping in football, and it was really entertaining. Very, very good, and it was just interesting, to see obviously the evolution of football into a professional sport, but also the position of goalkeeper and how psychotic a lot of them were. I think they can still be. It's a special breed, isn't it, to play in goal in football? But yeah, it was fascinating. Well, actually, Michael, it's PG Tips. It's actually from England. They the last time the school went back to England was went on a trip rather to England was back in May, and they brought me a big a big box of English tea. So it's black tea or English breakfast tea, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just drinking the same tea pretty much as I would in England. Although I'm not sure PG Tips would be my brand necessarily. I suppose with the big brands it would be. I tended to quite like some of the supermarket owned brands, actually, like Marks and Spencer's tea was pretty good. So yeah, how exciting and riveting. However, this country is a big tea drinking country. I mean, they drink a lot of herbal and floral teas and that kind of stuff, and fragrant teas and fruit teas, whatever. But no, not so much tea with milk. It's something they find a bit strange, which I suppose maybe it is. But I'm just obviously as an Englishman so used to it. So what is that? Boys of Summer reading it. Well, yeah, I don't know if it has to be boys. I mean, I'm sure plenty of wonderful sports fiction that women can enjoy as well. When you travel France, yeah, it's one of those things. My mother does it. She often brings tea with her. I mean, she's very adventurous and everything else. She'll eat all the local food, all that stuff, but she needs her cup of tea in the morning and in the afternoon and in the evening. And you just can't get the same, really. It's not that easy even here. If you take a normal black tea and put milk in it or whatever, it's never the same as if you have one of these brands from England. I know a lot of people love like Yorkshire tea in the UK. I was never a massive fan of Yorkshire tea. I suppose I don't know if it was too strong, but yeah, Twinings, PG Tips, that kind of thing. Tetley. I used to like the beer as well. Tetley bitter. I don't even know if they still do it. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if it's the same company. It might not be, actually, of course, but yeah. No, sorry to disappoint, Michael. It's only me on these occasions when I do these tea times. I fly solo. I did actually send Sean the link if he happened to be around. I said he could pop on, but I don't make a lot of videos at the moment. When things are busy, so instead of making a video, it's just easier perhaps to just pop on live. And I'm not sure this is really Sean's time. He might be partaking of an afternoon nap, perhaps. So, but yeah, there's no plan. So if you see the tea time thing and you're expecting Sean, you'll be disappointed. So in future, you can know that it will only be most likely just be me. But I don't know about the Friday reads this week. I haven't had the chance to tell Sean, because I don't know myself what the plan will be, because it's the last day of term, and there is something afoot at school. I don't know whether I'll be joining, because it's you know, not super easy to get back, and I can't leave Elvis alone overnight. So it all depends if one of my colleagues comes back here rather than sleep at the school, whether I go or not. And of course, if I go, there won't be a Friday Reads live, probably, unless I did it live from the school. Michael, how's the house coming? Yeah, it's well, nothing at the moment. I suppose I probably should expect that. I mean, they've done the foundation. That looks pretty good, although I wouldn't know much about it. The inspector was satisfied because we have to have a building inspector that checks everything in every fortnight or so. But we've only been going like a fortnight, so there's not much to inspect in terms of that. But I don't know yet. I don't know when or what the schedule is for the rest of the program, how much they're going to build over the summer, whether they'll take a break. I expected them to have to leave it for a week or two anyway, because of the the concrete and whatever probably needs a bit of time to set, I suppose, or whatnot. I think my friend was telling me when they laid down his base plate, basically what it is, they did it before they had about 10 to 12 days before they started building. And I guess the thing as well is, the team that made the base plate are a different team to the ones who build the house, or at least do the brickwork or whatever. And I suppose it all depends on how that fits in with their schedule as they move them around. So yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know yet whether or not it will be something that will see much update throughout the course of the summer. But it's strange. It's funny. I've been delaying putting out a TBR for BookTube at War because I'm waiting on a couple of books, and they say it usually takes about 7 business days because I order them from this place in the Czech Republic. And it's been quite a while, so I emailed them today, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm really sorry, it's been delayed. We're still waiting on these particular books. It should be within the following days." They never give like a deadline, and they said, "But you'll be priority. You waited long enough. We'll send them out as soon as we can." And every time I send this email, without fail, almost, I get the response saying that, and then a couple of hours later, I get a response saying they've been dispatched. So I don't know. I don't know whether they arrive and then, because they're not a massive warehouse kind of company. It is a chain of bookshops, so maybe they don't know, and then someone goes and looks and finds out they've arrived. I don't know, but it just seems every time I chase them up, within a couple of hours, I get another email saying, "Oh yeah, they've been dispatched." I'm thinking, yeah, they're just sitting on them probably. I don't know, Alexis. I mean, it would be a bit strange though if I'm there for like an end of school party to say to everyone, "Excuse me a minute, I'm just off to do a live on BookTube." Although maybe some of them could join in and talk about their reading. I could get the Czech literature teacher on, or something like that, maybe. Bricklaying lessons. Yeah. I could be like a Churchill, do it as a form of relaxation, I suppose. I doubt it though. I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what bricks they're going to be using. They write down the names of things, but I have no idea what the model types are and things like that. The house in front of mine, they're actually making really good progress. They've started putting on the roof, but the bricks they used on that house, they're like, I don't know, actually, probably like that big. That, not that it probably means anything to you, but obviously, like a normal brick is probably like that big, right? these kind of white, they almost look like breeze blocks, but they're white bricks, bigger than normal, maybe 2 or 3 times bigger. And those things seem really, they seem to put up the house pretty fast using those kind of things. So, I don't know if it's going to be the same ones or whether it's going to be the classic red brick or not. So we shall see. And obviously, if you are tuned in or subscribed to my other channel, then of course you'll be able to see as well. It's kind of fun doing that. I do enjoy making videos, and it's nice to actually play around making videos about something different as well. I mean, because I noticed I think almost everybody who's commented actually, Michael, Alexis, and Tom, 3 of you, you guys don't have channels. You comment and subscribe to people, I guess. But like, if you had channels, would you all have channels to do with books, or would there be other things that perhaps you would actually be interested in videoing in the course of your life if you did it? I mean, would you do, make travel videos or cooking videos, or what would you do? I'm curious. It's 13 people here, 3 people commenting. I don't know. The other 10 people must really love the sound of my voice. Bob the Bob is here. You would like to do a mix of books and natural history. Yeah, that would be really interesting. And do you read then? I'm guessing, do you actually read like a lot of natural history? Yes, Alexis. Yes, definitely. That is the whole purpose of building the house and getting the house is the garden. Yeah, I wanted somewhere for Elvis. I didn't want him to be in an apartment anymore. Hopefully this is our last summer in an apartment, and he'll have the opportunity to run around the garden. It's quite a big garden, probably not that big on American standards, but I'd say fairly big on English standards, though, like for a normal garden. I mean, the land itself is around 1,300 square meters, and so what's that, about 14,000 square feet, something like that, maybe 15,000 square feet, I don't know. And the house is only 120 square meters, I think. It's not a very big house, so there's plenty of garden for him to enjoy. And the nice thing as well is, like, on both sides, it kind of sits on this island, right? And there's like paths to the front of the house and a path to the rear of the house, and it loops around into the forest. So if you walk it, it's probably like an hour's walk if you take the long way around to the other. But it goes through like really nice forest. What have we got here? Michael, you watch a lot of reselling videos, eBay, Amazon, etc. Okay. I haven't really seen much of that. I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know what you mean then. You mean people like they just buy stuff and resell it, and they film like the profits and stuff they make on it or whatnot? So is that how that works? Yes, I will. Although exactly when, I'm not sure. I'm not going to be like super early about it, because I want to make sure that I got to a stage where, I know it's going to be, it's going to be okay. Because I've been here 10 years now in this flat, so but I think in some ways I think she'll be happy to get rid of me, because I know she'll be wanting to like redecorate and renovate the flat, and and gives them, of course, the opportunity as well to put the rent up, right? Because the rent increase has been, I don't know, £30 or something in the last 10 years. And it's like probably the total is still about half what people pay now for flats that come on the market here with rent. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be pretty keen to get rid of me. Because that's the thing. I mean, my mortgage payments and things will double what I pay in rent. But if I was to move to a new flat, I would be paying the same or more anyway. So to me, it just kind of made sense. Hi, MJ. Good to see you. Hi, Yuri. Your first live tea time. Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, yeah. Well, sorry you can't stay, but nice of you to pop in. Answering your question, I actually do like the sound of your voice. Calms me down, puts me to sleep. Well, wonderful. So yeah, the 15 people on here, maybe 12 of them are asleep. But I suppose that's not a bad thing. I mean, I like listening to podcasts and audiobooks at bed because they do put me to sleep. And someone I think has to have a rather nice, soothing voice in order to feel relaxed. So I'll take it as a compliment, sending somebody to sleep. Michael, yes, I'll send you. Yeah, please do. Yeah, email them over because that would be. I'm always curious to see what others watch on YouTube and other things. I put out a video about podcasts because I really enjoy podcasts when I find good ones, right? And but I am not. I don't listen to them religiously. I go in fits and starts. So it's like, sometimes 6 months can go by and I haven't listened to one. But when I find one, I tend to enjoy it. And I really like this Empire podcast at the moment, which is a history one, of course, about Empire, but in different forms. And it's William Dalrymple and Anita Anand, I think her name is. And they're just a great pair, They really kind of bounce off each other well, and they have some really fascinating guests on. And I'm actually quite jealous because I think, I don't know if it's next Thursday or Thursday after, he's delivering a lecture in the town where my parents live. And so they're off to watch that, and that would have been really good. Winterland, hello. You like shorts Jim is making? That'd be fun each time I cycle around a small proof it. Yeah, well, I tried it actually. I did it with some of the Historathon videos, but the thing is, they just took me quite a long time to do, even though they were only a minute long. And the problem is, I have lots of things I'd love to do, and it's just the time. That's all it is, really. That's why I've stopped. If you notice, generally, I've stopped editing videos unless it's like a special event or something, or I have a particular idea I want to try, or perhaps I have a few spare minutes. So when I did the Women's World Cup announcement video, I put a bit of effort into doing some kind of intro with that, and I've done a little bit, of course, with my building videos, but the building videos are only like 2, 3, 5 minutes max anyway. But yeah, with a lot of the booktube ones, I used to, well, you probably didn't notice I did much editing because I didn't. I used to just kind of chop off the beginning and the end. Sometimes if I made a mistake, remove things from the video, but it was minimum. But now I don't even do that. I literally, but the problem I've got, and if anyone else, kind of makes videos or records themselves, maybe MJ, if she's still here, might notice it as well. But like my natural face is pretty sour. I noticed, right? I like to have a laugh and whatever, but when I guess my resting bitch face isn't particularly pleasant, and I forget to smile when I want to make the video. Just press record and go. That beginning part, I'm just there like, concentrating on something. Hit record. Hello, everybody. And then of course I have to then edit that beginning part because I can't stand to see the first part of the video where I'm like, So, but I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people. We don't we don't walk around like grinning idiots all the time, I suppose. But it's the hardest thing I need to remember. So I'm like, right, Mark, before you press play, before you press record, smile. So I'm like, record. Hello, everybody. So, actually, I don't know if that's more terrifying or not. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're American, MJ. Americans tend to smile a lot anyway, don't they? So probably because your teeth are renowned for being better than ours, I suppose. So you're quite happy to show them off. But yeah, I forget. That's the problem. I forget to really make that conscious effort at the beginning. I'm too busy doing something, and also, I'm maybe my multitasking. It's like too hard to hit record and smile at the same time. So that could be the issue. But yeah, thing is, I enjoy laughing and smiling. But as I say, it's just that normal, like, I've got stuff to do face. It's just, yeah, not particularly pleasant. So that really, yeah. Then I'm like, oh no, now I have to cut out the beginning and go straight to the part where I'm smiling and waving and saying welcome to and welcome back to my channel. That's proved to be a really hard. That's proved to be a really hard thing having two channels. Yeah, I can't tell you the number of times. Doesn't happen on this one so much, but the number of times on the house building channel that I wanted to be like, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis. And you might be, oh, no, it's not Book Time with Elvis. And yeah, so it's funny when it just becomes so natural, to say those things. You have your set piece. Like, I'm sure, and I wonder how often if Michael does anything, Michael K. Vaughan does anything, how often he just is in an automatic mode going, hello, my friends, hello, it's like, and Summer, of course, from Sterling Reed's, salutations, and everybody has their bit at the beginning, and it's hard to, get out of that, I can't believe that, MJ, surely not. Michael, what do you think about people who make videos just showing an image? Could be cast as a podcast on YouTube. Yeah, well, I guess it can. I mean, the thing is, I really enjoy podcasting. I did it. It was my first foray into like content creation, apart from Instagram or whatever stuff. But actually making things that I recorded, I started doing podcasts, and I made probably 7 or 8 under the heading, titled Tea Time with Elvis, which I really, really enjoyed. And again, I started that during the first wave of COVID. And then when we went back to work, it just got too difficult and I ran out of time. And then when the second wave hit, I thought, no, that's it. I'm going to try this YouTubing malarkey. But I really enjoyed the podcasting. In fact, maybe in some ways, I might have enjoyed it more personally because I don't have to see myself, right? And I don't particularly like it. I'm looking now again, I'm thinking, how on earth, Mark, have you forgotten to still trim this massively long, eyebrow? It's annoying me looking at it. Whereas if I'm doing a podcast, I wouldn't have to. And now probably those of you who didn't see it, notice it, and like, yeah, that is really annoying. Why can't you just go put it off? I'm like, yeah, well, I forget, because I still feel like I'm 20. But of course the body lets you know that you're not, with extra hair and different places and whatnot. So it's like, oh no, you're middle-aged. But yeah, I mean, I guess it can be a podcast. I mean, especially if people listen, or if people pay for what's it called, YouTube Premium, is that right? Not only do you get to listen without or watch without being bothered by those horrible people like myself who monetize their channel, you actually can minimize the videos. You can have them playing in the background, so you can listen to them while you're out on the go. You don't need to, and you can download them, of course. So you can kind of basically any booktube video can, to some degree, now be a podcast if you have that ability. So MJ, now it's a bit more natural since I remember that I'm talking to our community of friends. Yeah, I would say the same. All that jazz, yeah. Bob the Bob. You've tried making ad hoc nature videos and find yourself mumbling and making mistakes and waffling. There's an acting side to just talking to camera that's easy to miss until you try it yourself. Yeah, I think the thing you and again, I'm sure MJ will back me up on this. It's it's not natural. It's not a natural thing to talk to yourself or to talk to the camera, and it's only something you can really do. I think the more often you do it, almost everybody looks a bit of a fool when they first start doing these things. I think. I mean, I cringe definitely when I go back, and not that I do. But if I do go back and see some of my old videos, I'm like, oh my goodness. So yeah, well, I don't know, MJ. Maybe if it's you can do all that without from your phone. I can see you could probably do it with on your computer, but I thought you needed to do it because usually if you close a video on your phone without having the premium, it goes off. Whereas you can listen, move away from it if you have premium. Less things have changed, but that was always I thought that used to be the way. Of course, I could be wrong. I don't make videos on technology, thankfully. I'm not like Steve Donahue, who's a wannabe techno tuber. No, techno tube, is that technology YouTube or is it techno music? Can you imagine that? That would be funny. But yeah, anyway, Bob, going back to you, I think it's just one of those things. We all mumble. I mean, look at me now. I'm like, I mean, I suppose this is live, so there isn't a script and it's normal. But because I don't prepare I don't really have any script. I might sometimes, depending what the topic is, write down a few notes, which invariably I forget to refer to, and then afterwards I'm like, oh no, damn it, I should have mentioned this. But then I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to record it again. So there's a lot of mumbling and waffling and making mistakes. But if it doesn't bother the likes of, the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, then it shouldn't bother you, and it won't bother your audience. Most people don't notice, I think, a large part of the mumbling and waffling. At least I hope not. Sometimes I notice or I catch myself saying, when I've watched a video back and thought, oh no, that's horrible. But these things, I guess, just fill that awkward silence. So, what have you said there, MJ? Old videos are cringy, but you enjoy going back to see where you were a year ago and how much progress you've made. Well, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I don't really do that. I pretty much don't really watch my videos back either to check them. I just check the beginning and the end because I don't really want to sit and listen to myself. The only time I don't mind actually listening to myself is the only time I don't mind listening to myself is when I put myself in the video at something like 1.5 to 2 times speed. Kind of smooths out the so it seems a bit better. Try it sometime. And I sound better. Even I admit I actually sound quite, eloquent when you put me at, don't put it more than that because then I sound like one of Alvin and the Chipmunks. But if you keep it below that, I do sound not too bad actually. So yeah. Oh dear. So, gosh, there's 22 people tuning in. I feel very privileged. And feel free to comment. These lives only really work with the participation of the audience. As much as I could just be here listening to the sound of my own voice. It's hard to go on too long. I've already talked to myself kind of for 40 minutes. I mean, thankfully, some prompts from some people here. MJ, we have 3 voices. internal voice, speaking voice, and listening back voice. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because um, they're not the same, are they? I mean, what I hear isn't the same as what you hear, is it? I don't think so. They always say you can't really hear, your voice sounds different to other people. And the internal voice, yeah. Now, is this internal voice? Is this what they call that internal monologue? Is it that people have where? Because I was reading about something where they said some percentage of people don't have this internal monologue. You know, mine never shuts up. Seriously, I'm talking to myself in my head all the time. Then I started thinking, you know, what if you're born? I mean, these people didn't have particular disability. I know that maybe they do, but not the one I'm going to mention. But I was thinking, if you were born deaf and you can't speak, how do you have an internal monologue? You know, because we think, like, when I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking, you know, stuff's going on in there. There's like his voice talking time and time again. But if you're deaf and you've never heard anyone speak, you don't know if you can speak. How do you speak to yourself? I don't know. Well, MJ, I didn't read the whole article. So, do you know if they were people who are deaf? Does that account for it, or am I just kind of, you know, talking nonsense as usual? What are we going to ask? Off topic, Mark. How do you make the chat for subs only via StreamYard or YouTube? Yeah, you go into you go into your videos, and then you go into the customization. And then one of the options gives it to you there. You can do that. That's where you click the tick for live chat replay, so that people can see all this stuff. I don't think it matters so much when you use StreamYard because you bring up the chats anyway. But if you're using YouTube, it's good. Otherwise, it's sometimes strange to watch a recording of a live without any of the conversation, especially if you're not somebody who reads out what people you know, what people have commented. So yeah, it's definitely in there. Aaron, yeah, I've got this topic of this internal. I keep wanting to say internal dialogue. I would be in trouble if I had an internal dialogue, wouldn't I? Well, maybe some people do. But Aaron, no, we were just actually talking about, and I don't know if I just dumped it on everybody or somebody mentioned it and it inspired me about this internal monologue and whether it works if you happen to be deaf and you've never spoken, if you're mute, because how can you speak in your head if you can't actually speak or hear or know what you sound like? I don't know. I'm really interested in this now, so I'm gonna have to find out. No problem, MJ. It's quite easy. As I say, just go into your videos and then all that stuff on the side there, and you'll have the options to customize how your live goes. And I think it's good to have the subscribers only thing, because otherwise you can get people who maybe try to spam your chats. Although touch wood, I've been fairly lucky. Actually, I've only seen it maybe twice. Maybe I'm just not exciting enough to want to spam or hack or whatever. Oh gosh, hack, that would be terrible. I would be so gutted, actually, put in all this work and then lose it. Because I keep having, I don't know if any of you guys like subscribe to things or follow accounts on Instagram, for example. It seems to happen quite a lot. But I followed, I don't know, some ocean life thing, and obviously some border collie pages, and every so often they get hacked, and it's horrible because you'll be scrolling through, and then the next thing you see is some really bizarre thing or something sexual or something like that, and you think, well, hang on, why is ocean life showing two people going at it in the back of a van? And then you realize, of course, they've been hacked, but you're still subscribed to them, of course, so it looks bad, but you didn't know about it. And I'm just thinking, yeah, it can be pretty dodgy for kids and things, definitely, when these things happen, and it's just horrible. Yeah, aphasia. Yeah, oh, hang on. No, hang on. What's this one? Aphantasia. That's what it's called. Yeah, because there's aphasia, isn't there? Is when you formulate something in your head and it gets lost and comes out as basically garbage, gobbledygook, or whatever when you speak. And then this aphantasia is that when people have no visual imagination, when they read fiction, they can't imagine places or faces they haven't seen. Yeah, I don't know actually how that works with me. I need to try it. Well, maybe I can. I don't know. The problem is so much of what we read has been like influenced. Like I'm reading Lonesome Dove, right? Or I finished Lonesome Dove. And although the series is but a vague memory from 40 years ago or 35 years ago or whatever, I still see the characters as Robert Duvall, and it just means for me to see it once, see these people once in some kind of visual representation of them, and then it corrupts completely my my visualization of uh, how characters are supposed to be. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And I doesn't bless him, doesn't Bruce Willis have a form of aphasia linked to his dementia? I think at the moment that's terribly sad. Uh, to live without imagination is unimaginable. Yeah, I agree. And the problem is, I don't know about who else kind of works with young people and children, but I do kind of worry for them a little bit. It does seem like there is a trend now because they do spend so much time looking at their phones or tablets or computer games that I think they are starting to maybe lose the ease of imagining things. Like when I was a kid, and so you're getting old when you start these stories. Yeah, I would often, I watched a lot of TV. I did, but I would also go out in the garden and I would recreate often some of the stuff I saw on TV, or I would make my own stories from it. I remember watching, um, was it James Mason and um, Peter Lorre, Kirk Douglas in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Disney production. And, I went on my own voyages and stuff on the Nautilus and whatnot afterwards. And, I played it for ages. Less politically correct, my favorite film was Zulu, and I would be out in the garden for hours shooting Zulus, as a kid, would and could in those days. But I would act out everything, and it wouldn't be like copied, completely from the TV. I would extend the adventures. I would go off on my own way. So they kind of often inspired me to it. But I used to, yeah, all the time be pirates or whatever out in the garden and out and around, even on my own. It didn't really bother me, and I just don't know. I just think kids now, they get a few free minutes, and I'm really shocked at the lack of reading, and it seems also gender based to me as well. I mean, the big readers at school are overwhelmingly girls. For every 7 girls, maybe, at school, and it's not a big school, but for every 7 girls, I can think of one boy, maybe. I don't know, but it's just very interesting to me that yeah, because when I was young, it used to be kind of both. I could imagine play things. I even, I was a very lucky kid. I mean, I got one of the first Nintendos when it came out. And I played it, but I wasn't like glued to it. I wasn't addicted to it. Maybe perhaps my parents didn't let me play it as often as I may have wanted to, but it certainly wasn't like, there might have been a time for a week or something when I first got it that I would race home from school and want to play, Super Mario Brothers or Legend of Zelda or something like that. But it was never, it never replaced the other activities I did. It was just something extra. Alexis, I have a huge imagination, but if you ask me to visualize an apple in my mind, I can't do it. Visualization is separate from imagination. You can't visualize an apple in your mind. You see, I cannot not visualize an apple in my mind. And any type of apple you want. That's interesting. Hi Aaron, I enjoyed your video on Blake's complete poetry, Penguin Classics editions. I have the same. I wonder if you come back to it sometimes. Mark, do you also read Blake? Well, I'm probably going to upset a lot of people. I am not a massive poetry fan. I do have my favorites. I don't mind some, but I don't really read enough. And William Blake is, I would struggle to tell you anything by Blake other than Jerusalem, to be honest with you. So no, I did see a beautiful edition of Blake. I forget the publisher. It had a wonderful, wonderful cover. It was kind of like pearl with strings of silver and gold. I don't know. It just looks stunning. But then I thought to myself, well, I don't know if I'll read it. I appreciate the skill of people who write poetry, and I'll always try it if someone says to me, hey, check this out, because I know Aaron is a poet himself, and I think that's wonderful. Sean's a poet. He's got his book out, and from what I've read, I've enjoyed, but it's not like for me a go-to. Short stories, essays, yes, I do really enjoy, and some poetry, I adore it, but just not. If I'm listening to, I don't know, Henley, for example, or some of the war poetry from the First World War, a bit of Wilfred Owen, or yeah, it's nice. And I can, I find I can quote probably a dozen poems, but yeah, it's not, I don't know, I don't get something from it, maybe. Sorry, I feel guilty. Winkling, what have we got here? I have never had the problem that the cast wasn't what I expected it to be. But reading the book after watching the movie, the people in the book look like the actors, no matter how they're described. Yeah, exactly right. It somehow overwrites any ability to imagine what they look like once you've seen them in the TV show or the film. At least it does with me. And sometimes there's like a nonsense, like with the Aubrey Maturin books. Yeah, in the film they cast Paul Bettany, who's tall and blonde, as Dr. Maturin, but when you read the books, he's short and dark. So it's like it becomes very, very difficult. Yuri, Mark, could you do a podcast in your pirate voice? I would subscribe immediately. I'm not sure what my pirate voice is, unless it's, my very poor imitation of Robert Newton in Treasure Island. We see that's a good example there. I cannot, if I visualize or even imagine or whatever, Long John Silver, I cannot imagine anyone other than Robert Newton. And I wouldn't want to, actually. So, ahar, Jim lad! Shiver me timbers. So, yeah. It doesn't blow the top of your head off. That is Emily Dickinson's description of when you have read a good poem. Well, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've been moved by a lot of poetry. But, and I did enjoy Milton. I do like some of Shakespeare's poems, but I don't know. Sometimes I just find it, I don't know. I guess it's because I have so much I want to read, and it's for me just not a preference when it comes to um, picking something up. I do have, of course, things in poetry. I've got the Iliad there and the Odyssey and the Aeneid and things like that. But and I don't mind. Actually, some ways I probably prefer some of the more epic poems than not. But I don't know. It depends. Maybe I just need to sit down and go through some good things, or maybe Aaron needs to put out a poetry 101 starter kit to get people to fall in love with it again. Because I used to write it myself. I think a lot of people have been through periods where they have dabbled in writing prose or poetry. I always preferred writing poetry actually to writing prose. Bizarrely, I know that sounds really contradictory there, but now I think of it, maybe again because yeah, actually that's weird. Now I think about it, I didn't mind short stories, and I've started so many longer works you wouldn't believe, but I always, I never see it through. So Beowulf is in verse, yes. So there we go. Gosh, we're approaching the 1 hour, so I don't know. I might have to go purely because my little dependent will be requiring his din-dins. And his parental will probably be requiring it as well, but I haven't decided what I'm going to have. Aaron, what have you said? Hey, Yuri. I might get back to him eventually. The notes in that Penguin edition of Blake are awesome, so maybe I'll utilize them to do some more in-depth videos on specific poems. Okay, right. The Pirate Boys, yeah. Piracy with Elvis. How does that sound? Does that sound good? So, please leave another comment, and then I'll wrap it up if there aren't any more. Yeah, thank you, Alexis. I did notice there were. Of course, a lot of them have dropped off now. I mentioned that I might be leaving. It's funny how people do that, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'll get out before it ends, because maybe it was like a feint, and actually I'm going to stay around for another 2 hours. But yeah, there we go. So, me hearties, thank you very much for dropping by, and I think that's it. Yeah, I will head off, and perhaps I will be here on Friday with Mr. Standfast. If not, it may just be moved to Saturday. I'll have a word with him. So yeah, do enjoy the rest of your days, everybody, and thank you ever so much for tuning in. It's much appreciated, and look forward to seeing you all again. I've got to remember to smile. Oh no, it's all right when I'm leaving. It's only starting, isn't it? See you all again very soon. Do take care. Bye-bye.